Okay, so 5:05 on the 5th, Thursday, which is going to be training day. I wonder what he's going to be working on today. I have started, well, I've been ever since he told me to feed her in the crate. I've been doing that. I've been working with her every day, and I have started taking her thing off to get her to listen while we're doing it, because before she wasn't listening when I would take it off, or when I would take it off and I would tell her to sit, she wouldn't be listening. But anyways, I've been taking it off to get her to listen. And the what was I gonna say? Because she's listening. I'm out of it, man. I've been up since 2. Um, I woke up and I had a headache and I couldn't get comfortable. And then constantly she's laying right on top of me. It's like she has got an umbilical cord. She is like when you have a baby and they have to be touching you all the time. Oh my God, it gets to me. Um, so, anyways, but she's right here right now. Stella's over there snoring. I had to give her some medicine because she was whining. Yesterday, we went outside, but we didn't go down to the river. Stella did walk down to the river, but we didn't all go down the river. They all just scattered and went all over the place. But she wasn't down there very long, and she came back up and went and laid in the garage. So I know she's, I don't know, probably after you just have worked out a lot, I guess. Like she's sore or something. Uh, um, but I knew, I mean, she'd woke me up a few times, and I could just feel the energy is just intense. I'm having weird, it's not even like dreams. It was like conversations all night and stuff. I'm just, and I know the energy is intense because I keep seeing now people sharing this Schumann and talking about it. But there was something else I was going to say about her training, that wearing the collar, taking it off, doing the crate. He said to do the crate because then eventually she'll, especially like if your dog is food aggressive, because then they feel sick. Nobody can get their food. And then when everybody's done, then you can let them out. And because she's notorious for trying to take somebody else, she won't go take Stella's, but she'll hover around and piss Stella off. And but he said, especially when you do treats, because then they feel safer, like nobody can get theirs and they don't feel like such frenzy about it. And she does have these chews that she really likes, and I'm going to go get some when I go. I had to get groceries and stuff, if we get that far, which I'll talk about. But because I don't get paid till Monday. But but there's these big chew things that she really likes at the tractor store, tractor feed place. And but they take a while to chew. And so I was like, that would be perfect to be able to put her in there, let her chew. And because he said it teaches him how to chill, teaches him how to be able to go and self-soothe. And she really needs to figure out how to self-soothe. She just relies on me for everything in it. And I'm not somebody who goes well with that. Like, she's definitely testing me to myself. She gets me to see clearly what my weaknesses are, if you want to call them that. But yeah, I don't like to be touched constantly. I don't like to be hovered. I don't like to be surrounded. I feel like, so, and I don't even know if I'm going to keep going live. It's not like, it's not like it's a big hit or anything. I thought that there would be more people that would come, not just the people on here, because I know everybody listen, or whoever listens to me normally, but but I thought, a way to open up to more people, but just kind of pull, like, there just seems to be some like strange people out there who, and I don't even know if they're really people or if they're just bots. And so when you go live, they go on and just kind of harass you or something, or say weird stuff, or try and get you to argue with them. And I know they were doing that on TikTok, and they would do it. They would, and I think they're like bots or something, but they would send them in. And then if the people would argue with them, they would shut down their channel. They would shut down their lives. They would take away their live rights and all sorts of stuff. So it's just some sort of games or whatever. But anyways, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep going live. Maybe turn it into once a week instead of twice a week, which I thought, if it was a big hit or something, we would do it more often. But now it's like, because it is kind of, it's kind of a lot of work. And so anyways, I don't know. I'm going to talk to Crystal. But, and if we do keep doing it once a week, we'll have to see which day. Because Saturday her daughter has basketball games and stuff, so Saturday might not be a great day, and Sunday's not, because David Wilcock does Sunday. So everybody goes and watches David Wilcock, who's out, looking for weird stuff to talk about. So, but there was something else I was going to say about her training, but I don't remember. Maybe it was just the learning how to chill out in the crate, if you want to get your dog to learn how. So that's what he told me. So anyway, she's been doing that every day. We've been training. I've been working with her every day. So I'll see today what the new thing is that I'm going to be working with her on. So, let me see. She's waving her tail. Now Stella is up and at him, going towards me. So it's only 5 o'clock in the morning. They've already been up and ate. I'm just exhausted. I swear to God, I'm just exhausted. I'm worn out. And this energy is like, but it really does like make you feel tense, which makes you kind of reveal to yourself where you've got tension. You know what I mean? And, so anyways, that's that. But on the, okay, so on the files, people are going deeper. The DOJ or whatever is trying to pull them back in or something, which is triggering a whole bunch of people. And some people are getting super, super triggered, especially about the stuff it says about Donald. And I still think that that's going to come out is, that there's stuff in there that's not all true. But, I mean, they've got it really woven in there a lot. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you be the whistleblower and the informant and go to take down a whole situation that you are complicit? And why, if you're complicit in this stuff, why wouldn't you just join in? Why would you want to bring it down if you want to go do all this warped stuff? I mean, now there's even an email supposedly between Jiz and Jeff, and it is Jiz telling him, well, Donald's on his way, and Jeff saying, well, make sure we have lots of diapers. He's going to be here a week. Last time I was here, he was shitting all over the place, and I had to burn everything. I was like, it was kind of reminiscent of like, he likes to pee on everything. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't imagine that somebody being a little derelict and then wanting to take down all the cover. It's like you got all your friends out there who want to do all the weird stuff like you do. What would be the reason to try and take them all down? And why would they spend so much time trying to destroy him? It seems very much that he is the one who is against them and trying to reveal them to us. I mean, he came in hot from the very beginning trying to reveal about these people. And so many people just want to know her. I just heard this lady who was talking about this thing. It was really creepy. And she moved into some really well-to-do neighborhood. And that's, one of the problems is the well-to-do neighborhoods. And it was over by Berkeley. So she got into Berkeley, and then she had to find housing. And so she found some in some well-to-do, fancy area. And she had a cottage. So she had like the guest house of one of these rich houses. And so she said that the neighbor next door had concreted his whole backyard. His whole backyard was concrete. And and then they told her in particular that if you hear any noises and stuff, we go out late at night to walk our dogs. So just figure we're outside with our dogs. And she's like, she's thinking, well, okay, weird. And so she said after that, she started hearing, and she said it sounded like it was underground. and she would hear like vacuuming, sawing, all sorts of just all this noise all night long. And it was really bothering her. She was having a hard time sleeping through all this noise. And so then she ended up in one of her classes meeting somebody who lived a house a few cottages down from her. So they were also a student living in a guest house a few down from her. And so they started joking around about all the noise at night and how they aren't getting any sleep and stuff. And so she said, and the guy who lived there, he would do weird stuff all the time. Like she would hear him and his wife would get in drunken fights and stuff. She said he came out one time in these long green electric gloves or something and was just staring at her. He sounds like a real card. And so she just thought he was weird. She just thought they were just a weird couple. And but there would always be all of this noise. And she said it was hard to tell where it was coming from, but definitely sounded like it was coming from underground. And she said one of the times she was really frustrated and she was really tired. So she took something and she banged on the ground. And she said when she did that, something banged back up at her. And so she started yelling, because she was like, how dare you? Like, I'm trying to sleep up here. And so then she said another weird thing was there was this woman who came and she was staying at the other people's house back on the concrete thing. She was sleeping in a tent back there. And she was like going off grid or something and staying in these people's concrete yard. And she said every morning she'd be out there drinking coffee and I guess pooping out there. And the lady was like, she could smell her. And it was like, yeah, that's weird. And so then that one of the nights, she said one of the nights that the guy who owned the house and the lady were sitting back in the corner whispering. And then I'm not sure if it was this same night, but she said that one night that she all of a sudden she heard a scream, just a blood-curdling scream from a woman. And so it freaked her out, and she started opening her doors and windows, trying to hear, like, where's that coming from? And she started calling the cops and said that someone was screaming. And then she said after the scream, she started hearing all sorts of sounds, like somebody being, like in that movie, The Three, and it's named after the kind of places you stay cheap when you're traveling through Europe. And I've talked about it before, the HOSTL, and that what they did when they would get the people and how they would get them was like you go to a bar and then you take somebody goes and gets you drinks and then come back, hey best friend, and you're all sitting there drinking together, and then you wake up in a room of red and it's set up, you're tight, you can't move, and it's got all sorts of devices in there to make your life very rough and take it. And so so that's what she was hearing, was that, and screaming and sawing, and she said it sounded like waterboarding, and she said it was horrible, and she kept calling the cops and calling the cops and calling the cops. And she said the cop showed up one time and goes to the door and knocks on the neighbor's door and says, what are you guys doing in here? Somebody heard somebody scream, and it was just like nothing, and they left, nothing happened. And she said it kept going for hours. She said it was the most horrific thing she'd ever heard in her life. It still gives her nightmares. And she called her stepson and she said, come get me right now. And so he came and got her in the middle of the night, and she said she never went back there. Her husband and her mom went and got all of her stuff, but she never went back there. She was so freaked out by what she was hearing, and the cops weren't doing anything. And makes me think like that guy had dug up his whole entire backyard, and because the other student and her used to laugh and think like they were building a bunker or something, like they're just weird old rich people. And but it was probably, he had built a room, a colored room down there that would be for the red. So and then he put a slab on top of it, and he thought like it would cut down the sound or something. But she said that they had replaced the pipes or something over at her place, and that he probably didn't realize how much they could hear because something through the piping system, she was saying. So, yeah, I mean, this stuff is going on. This isn't just like, this is what I've been saying for so long. I mean, all these people get so focused on this island, but it's going on all around us. It's all over the place, these people. And then, when they have underground places to get to one another and stuff, like in California and Hollywood stuff, like there's all sorts of those underneath. Supposedly, Hugh, the Playboy, he had those going under his to all sorts of different people's homes. It's like, so you have a tunnel going over to his place, then where do all of them lead to? Because they're all ways to get people or things in and out without it being up in the general population, unseen. And so, and they're really, it's become clear in the files. And, but, we heard this such a long, Hunter, that little thing, it had all sorts of video about, and his was more like 8, 9, and his, I think, are like in Cambodia, China, someplace, Bangkok. You go over there, and well, I think it had, because it had the C and the C and the B, had footage too. And but Hunter also liked to keep stuff like that, and I guess relive it. And but they had said like he was one of the sickest people that they dealt with, and but a lot of these, it's all over in the file. It's all over on his thing, and with the stuff that organization who watches, in China, that they had said that there's a lot of the TORTURE with to DEATH of these people. Like that's what they like to do, is while they're getting off on them, in them, whatever, they also like to be ending them and doing horrific things to them in the meantime. It's like, man, think about it. It's like we're fucking being run by a bunch of serial killers. Seriously. It's like a world of serial killers. And what are serial killers? People who have no compassion, no empathy, that are very self-indulgent and have got some kind of thing that it has warped them, that they and then they need more and more and more to get that high, to fill that need. So yeah, that's what they all, but it's extreme. It's extreme, the amount. And I hope that people are starting to figure out like why we say vampires are real, and they want to think of it just like how the mermaids, they want to think of it as though, oh, they're these beautiful ladies, fish ladies that sit out on the rocks with brushing their beautiful hair with seashells, and vampires are creepy guys that walk around with big teeth and stuff. It's like, no, they were feeding you a fairy tale. And I look at, Mr. Child of Roth or Mr. Fellow that Rocks, one of those old geezers. And that's what, is more Nosferatu than Christopher Lee. So the, but they are, this, some of their kind of being, or some of their kind of, what they live off of, which I guess, they've already fucked up the cream cheese. But I guess what they think is taste like cream cheese is baby poop. That's what it is. Because I was like, So, I don't know, man. These people are so why. And they talk about it in their emails and stuff like, oh, I hope we get some good cream cheese. And oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, and how, like a serial killer party, man? It's like they're all together. It's like it's creepy. And then people want to think like this isn't hell? Oh, what? This is hell. My God. And anyways, so but no matter, to me, it's like if you remove your emotions and you look at the things like logically, which I know some people's perspective and their logic takes them down the thing, well, they're all in on it, they're all bad. But again, to me, when I look at, what Donald came in talking about, like, we'd all still be in the dark. We would all still be in the dark if he hadn't come in and talked about this shit. So, and he, he's a part of the introduction of, the letter. And so it all went together. And then when, if you ever got the opportunity to listen to Charlie Freak, and he talked about a lot of the stuff in the beginning, and that how Donald was handpicked by the NRA because once they had gotten to the point of there was enough of the good guys who wanted to change things. Things just kept getting worse and worse and worse and darker and darker and darker. And which, like, Jesus Christ, yeah, man. Like, who knows how it all, did Jeffrey start out as just like, you know, bringing little girls to dirty old men. And then he started getting more involved with some of these higher ups in science. And then he started saying, yeah, well, what about this? And what about that? And then he started finding out more. And then he went further into those kinds of business. But yeah, I mean, they didn't, for a lot of the infants, they didn't have to go out and, rob those. I guess that's more difficult. As a lot of it is that they would just, they had their own factory going. And there's lots of those. There's lots of those factories. And even in one of the emails, the lady, because then they do go to other countries and stealing or taking back. I think it isn't just stealing. I think that there's countries where they have created so much poverty that people see having a baby as an opportunity to make money. And so then they are like, well, they sell their own. And so I think that they also got them in that way. But but also that is a part of their creation, the creation of poverty and desperation. And but not all of us become the kind of desperate that they thrive off of. you know we're not all on board, obviously, with the things they do. And that's the thing about Donald. I just feel like he was a rich guy who, once he started finding out what they were going to do, what they were doing, it's blood curdling. And then and I'm sure when you first find out, it's just like when we first find out, you know, they're perving on little girls and stuff like that, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. The snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so then once he was like, no, he's not going to be involved with that stuff. And even though they keep trying to link him and Jeffrey, he had blackballed Jeffrey. Like, Jeffrey came into his place, coming on to some of the young girls that worked there. And Donald's like, nope, you're not allowed here anymore. And so, but that doesn't mean, like, when you're a rich person, you go to a party, like, look at who's involved with all this stuff. Like, man. And so anywhere you get invited, these same people are going to be showing up. So yeah, there's going to be pictures and stuff to link you with these people. But, what are you going to do? Go into hiding? But supposedly what Charlie Freak had said was that, so there became enough good guys in the NRA that are enough good guys in the military that they were going to go up against the dark one, but they knew it had been so infiltrated here that they needed somebody who had power to get in there to change the law, just like what all these EOs and stuff about getting us back onto the Constitution, get us out of the corporate law, and which is kind of kind of crazy when you really think about it, is because why can they have any law over us? Why do we have to submit to anything they do or say? And it's all it's like all of us do it because it's expected, and we're peer pressure. But really, it's like, you have no say over me. But they engulf us, they envelop us, and so and then we're held by the parameters of the other, the peer pressure and stuff. So to create a good society or whatever. So anyways, but they had to get somebody in there to go in and change it. And they needed somebody who was rich enough and not a part of the dark, and that they could pay for their own, because they couldn't pay to get somebody in. And in order to run, you have to have like a lot of money. I don't know how much, but I know it's in the double digits, at least millions. And so in order to run for any of these things, you have to have a lot of money. And so they needed somebody who had integrity and a lot of money, and which I think is a rare breed. And so they had approached him, but he had been on, if you go back and look, he had been on so many talk shows for so long, talking about the things that were wrong in here in America. And he had said things like, I should run for president. And sometimes the people say, maybe you should run for president and stuff. And then he would say, well, I kind of just enjoy my life. And so, but, he was out there speaking about this stuff, when we were just all ignoring it. And not just a lot of the stuff about the way that they were running this country, like it didn't, to make our country be powerful and strong and make all of the people be powerful and strong, you wouldn't be doing the things that they were doing. And he kept calling them out on that, because they weren't trying to do that. They were trying to create us to be subservient to them, to be indebted to them, and to be in poverty and desperate. And so it's like the only game plan they have. It's like the only thing they know how to do. So so he was on the shows and stuff talking about that. So he seems like the likely candidate, the likely person to approach. And so he agreed that he would do that and he would pay. But he is a character. Like he was on, a reality show. Like he's a character, and he is, I think he's kind of a goofball. And so he brought a little of that to his platform. He showed these sides of himself, which a lot of people didn't like, and they thought, you shouldn't act like that and stuff. But when you think back of what they tried to sell us, somebody in politics is polished and they're all like this, perfect candidate with a great smile. They look good in a suit and stuff like that. Like what they're trying to sell us on Gavin and stuff. And it's like, no. Now, I mean, hopefully more people have seen through that. This whole thing about trying to sell us a candidate because he looks good in a suit and he has a good smile and he has all the right things to say. And so, so we already had turned some people, and they already, they went in hard immediately. Like they knew from the beginning. That's the thing, is the media and stuff went after these certain other politicians that, like, we never seen anything like it, how they went after him. And a lot of people jumped on board and thought there was a reason. Well, this is the reason. It's because he was going against their perviness. And so they needed to keep it covered. They couldn't risk him coming and revealing it to all of us, because that was, I mean, what they're willing to do to keep stuff hidden. That's what this whole practice is by the MOSSAD, if that's how you spell it, of the male, the dark male. So they have, they, so these people are willing to, to keep whatever, to keep their stuff hidden, their weird shit that they've done. And so they all were in fear of him. And then they all, they own the media and all that stuff. So there was a campaign to destroy him. And, if he was, why, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. If he was just like them, why, I mean, and if he had all of this stuff to be him, like, why would he be out there saying, well, there's nothing on me? Like, he says it with such confidence that it's like, he's out there like not a sweat on his brow through all this, with total confidence. So yeah, I just, when you look at all of those different factors, it just gives you a different story. And so, like I said, though, I don't know how or why that this is interjected or woven into the release of all this stuff, other than to try and draw him in, and which creates a really more hopelessness and helplessness of the people to feel more trapped than, how do we ever get out of this trap? But I still have the belief that he is, changing the rules, and he's not to save us, because it's not about just saving us. It's about this whole awakening and learning how to save ourselves. So it's not just for him to save us, but he's giving a more of a fair playing field. So he's creating a more fair playing field, and then he's going to help us find direction when we need to pick up the pieces, which I think that is coming close. Because this is something that I have seen a lot on, is the Super Bowl. Like, fuck, dude. I mean, I get kind of freaked out over a lot of this stuff. So, I take it with a grain of salt. But I fuck wouldn't go to that. There's no way. Like, especially, I mean, it was one thing when people just kept saying, isn't it weird, like their poster or whatever that they've chosen, and the way the colors go, and then people saying, isn't that look very similar to the screen of the TV when they put up emergency broadcast? And why would they make it look like that? When have they ever done that before? And it is kind of weird colors. It is weird. But there's way more weird stuff about the whole thing with Super. And even in the files, I mean, it makes it clear that all the things are rigged. For people who still don't get that, they still think like these are real regular games that people are playing. It's like they're on a script. Like, it's not at all. There's nothing real about these games. And you got rich, powerful people who own these teams. It's money. It's all about money. It's about Vegas. It's about, so yeah, it's nonsense. But yeah, there's still people who are just all in on this bullshit. So, I mean, and the tickets to the Super Bowl, I think they're like $2,500 or something. I know they're expensive. So, I don't know. It's a big stadium, and I think, where is it going to be? Because who is the teams? Is it the Patriots and Seattle? Is the game in LA? I can't really remember. I just saw what it was saying. That now I can't remember. But so the one of the things I had seen was this guy who was really good with all of the, I don't know, the code breaking, numerology, and all that stuff. And he was doing this huge explanation about the dates. And so the about when they changed the calendar. When they changed the calendar, they took away 10 days. And so he's saying the 10 days of darkness is the days that we're getting back. It's not. The power is going to go out for 10 days or something. He said it's going to be the 10 days of darkness. There's been 10 days that have been dark to us. And they're giving those back. And he's like revised the calendar, the current calendar kind of, on some of the dates over like these, yes ma'am, over these, whatever they're called, the signals, the insight, whatever they are, I can't think of what they're called, the spooks, the signals, I don't know, but there's all these little signals, there's all these little signs out there, because that's one thing, is that the other people talk a lot in signs and symbols and stuff, and so there's it's like that the other side started doing that back. And so so Donald's always talking in signs and symbols, and there's like certain, like while he's talking, then he touches his collar and says a certain word at a certain time, and then you pause, and then you look at the timestamp, and then that timestamp you go look at a drop, and the drop will say the word that he just said. So there's all these things that are going on all the time, and you have code breakers. You have tons of these code breakers that are really tuned into all that stuff, and they are just, so this guy is one of those people. And he was saying that so on these dates that let me think, so this weekend is really, would be, maybe it's today, no, it's tomorrow, I think, would really be Valentine's Day. Let me think, because it's the 14th, so it's 10 days, so maybe it was the 4th was really Valentine's Day. And then, so the 17th is coming up. So, this whole thing with the horse and stuff, but there's more to the number anyways, because it has to do with the letter, it has to do with a whole lot of stuff. And so so this weekend is actually different dates than what we are thinking that they are. So these dates are more it's like the 16th through the 19th are very important to all of this stuff, and which would be this weekend. And so he said that it seems it has to do with the two eyes, the Bran and the rat. And it seems like I mean, I can't even do the whole breakdown of everything he was saying, but it seems that there's something like that they're going to do to us. And so it's going to be some sort of, aggressive move on their part towards us. And what better thing, when I talked about the tower, something big, it's going to be something that's big. And when you think about the bull and how many people are there, and something to happen there, and then for the TV to go out, an emergency, and all the people watching. So all the people watching, just like we were all tuned in watching what was going on the towers. Once they had done the first one, and right away had it on the news and stuff, we're all like watching as they did the second. And so it's kind of, it seems like the perfect scenario for whatever it is that's going to go down, which, when it comes down to it, the thing that's going to go down is what changes humanity, which Donald has also come out and said something big's about to happen that is going to bring us all together and bring in a lot of light. And so he's also making reference, something's about to go down. And, I mean, there's lots of us who are out here trying to figure out, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? And so, so in this scenario, this guy is saying that, and it was way more complex. Like, I'm just trying to hit the hot spots. But, yeah, so it'd be this weekend that he said the 6th through the 9th are going to be very, very important dates. There's going to be a lot of shit that's going to be going on for the next week. So, yeah, that's why I said, I don't know. I mean, if something happens and everything gets shut down or something, I won't be getting to the store on Monday. my plan, my intention is to go to the store on Monday. And always, when I first go to the store, I'm stocked up. So that's my intention. But I did decide, because I've already got a bag of food for them. And then I did freeze some food for them too. So I have food for them. And then for me, I'll just eat peanut butter crackers. So, but I do have some couple pieces of pizza it's already cooked. It's not frozen pizza, but it was cooked pizza, but now it's in the freezer. I have some muffins, cinnamon rolls. So I have things like, you just got to scrounge around kind of, you don't have to be like, hey, it's Thanksgiving, let's all have a big meal together or something when this stuff's going down. You just got to survive it. So, anyways, that's my survival tool is peanut butter crackers, and the dogs got stuff. I've got water, and even though I've already gone through like 8 gallons, it goes so fast, man. But when I was up getting the water, that nice lady who gave me the couple of bucks, she also, she was saying, how often do you have to come get water? And I said, or how often do you have to fill all these up? I said, like a week and a half. And she said, oh, wow. And I was like, because I'm not, but I got to fill the dogs water. I got to make the dogs soup. I have to make them a pot of soup every day. That is almost a gallon of water in their soup. They go through so much water of drinking, and I have to keep dumping out some. I keep putting just a little bit in, but Max is jacking up this water, man. It just turns into mucus. Oh God, it's so disgusting. Mucusy foam. So I have to constantly dump them out. So that's exhausting in itself. I'm keeping up on the water, the food. So anyways, but she said, oh, lots of people have to come up, get water all the time. And I said, she said, the water here is so bad. And I said, well, I'm on a well, but it's a really high iron. And she said, oh, everybody's is. Everybody's well here is high on iron. I was like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, nobody can drink it. And which my brother is going to put this big filter system on. So, eventually I would be able to drink it if this is where, I have no idea who knows if this place is even going to exist at some point, you just don't know. We're at a big period of time of change. It's just like that movie Inception or whatever, if that's the one I'm talking about, where the reality is just going and they're like running to get out of the reality. And that's what I look at. That's how I see it, is our reality is just breaking apart, it's falling apart, and we're just running to get out of it. So, anyways, this guy was saying this weekend, and the Super Bowl is definitely going to be a target. And so, which, yeah, I mean, it's weird about the whole thing with the emergency broadcast. It is the perfect scenario. All these people being at this place, and there's something about the dates being in alignment, but the whole idea of all those people being hurt at the same time as everybody's watching, like that's what. So I don't know. I mean, that would affect a lot of people. Like a lot of people would be. I think that would really be something. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. But another person was doing a breakdown, only they were doing a religious breakdown. And it's seventh day of the seventh year of the seventh under 777 of Jesus, 7 7. It's all these sevens, the Sabbath of seven, and all this. It's like a whole thing, which I couldn't even understand all of that whole thing. But he also said it all lines up to the Super Bowl, and so I swear to God, this is like the third different thing that I've said, or not that I've said, I've seen, of people saying the Super Bowl is big trouble. And the first ones were the people who were talking about there's something like the picture has got signals or signs in it, like the color with the emergency broadcast color, but there's other things in their poster and what are symbols or signs that something's going to go down. And then the guy on the something with the dates and stuff in it, here are so many dates. It's like, okay, and something about Donald saying done in 30, and we're 2 days early. And so something about that. And then when you do all these dates, that's where it's like, oh, that's this Super Bowl that weekend. That's this. So, anyways, and then this religious breakdown is saying it. So I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, sometimes it's like these things. It's like they come and they go, and and does it matter? Because they're feeding off of the energy. They're feeding off of, uh, because even in this speculation creates anxiety, and so they feed off of the anxiety. But I don't know how you can go through this and just ignore everything going on. But I mean, if you can, more power to you. But you also need to make sure that you are clearing your soul of all that burdens it. And it seems to me that all of the things going on are to promote that kind of purging of all of this, because a lot of it has to do with like seeing this stuff, but then being able to keep yourself sane through it, and that takes emotional development. And in order to develop emotionally, you have to purge out like the things that burden you, the things that stress you out and stuff, make you feel bad, make you feel sad. It's such a big part of the soul's experience is to be disconnected from this concept of that they can hurt you, they can do things that you need to be in fear and stressed out about. It's when you know your own power and your eternal spirit, and that you realize, well, they can't do anything. No matter what happens here, it's not going to affect me like that they want to. But when they don't need that part of it, all they need you to do is stay spinning and stressed. Because as long as you're spinning around the stress wheel, then they are living high on the hog. And that's all they care about, is having an existence for themselves. And then I swear to God, you just got to put it in perspective what these beings are. Just these low vibration, vampy, controlling, negative spirits. They're just, it's just who or what they are. And we are, a higher vibration, light spirits. And even though it seems like some of the people who come in here get really sucked into the dark, they get really sucked into this world. But that to me is this whole thing about your spirit being able to find its way out of this dark place. So, anyways, but yeah, these people are, I would think they're vampires. That's what I would call them. I mean, they are blood. That's what they need in order to. I mean, it is kind of weird. Do they ever even eat real food? Are they only used to eat like parts? And you know what? Another thing too, because there's all these people, now talking about the problems with, cannibalism and in the KURU, so the sickness, and I was thinking, like, well, supposedly Hillary had it. Supposedly that German prime minister lady, who whatever her name is, I can't think of her name. I can picture her, but I can't think of her name. But then supposedly she's Mustache Man's daughter or something. But that so a couple of those people, supposedly people, human, so that they have gotten the sickness, the KURU, and but these other people, they it doesn't seem like that they get it, like that they get any of this stuff, which to me would also show that they are a different type of genetic code, which is a different type of being, so that this is what they eat. They don't, they're not like us. But then another thing about it too is when they're putting that all in the food, then why don't all of us have that sickness? Why doesn't everybody have that sickness? So I don't know. It was just kind of curious to me. And or something else coming into my mind about that. The sickness, the people who, because we don't all get it. And there's tons of people who eat meat all the time. And so, and it's a neurological thing. It's kind of like mad cow or something, I think. Oh, I remember what I was going to say now. It's because this is the second one I've heard of these. And I heard of two of these recently. So one of them was a guy, and he had gone out, out for the night or something. He ended up kissing some girl, and then he went home that night, and in the morning he woke up with blisters all on his face. And so he was online asking people, what do you think this is? And all the people are, like, oh, that's herpes. That's, what's the other one? It starts with a C. Another STD on his face or something. So all the people are seeing that kind of stuff. So then yesterday or the day before, I saw another one where a girl, she had gone out and maybe she had gone on a date or something. It seems like, I can't remember exactly, but it was another person who had gone and they had kissed somebody, and then they had woke up with this rash all over their mouth. So they went to the hospital and the ER or whatever, and they had ran tests on it. And what it was something about that, the flesh eaters, something about that. And it had something about that caused that. So the other person was one of those flesh eaters, and then something in their saliva or whatever got on her and caused this, and then that happened to that guy. So, man, you gotta watch out. Like, these people who are just out there just dating and kissing people and stuff, like, everything's being revealed. Like, nothing's hidden anymore. And so, some of these, the vamps are just out there mixing amongst the rest of us. There's lots of different beings. That's a thing. And that's a part of this whole thing, is even these vamps, these flesh eaters, that they are, I mean, they're, it's like, how can we sit there and say they can't be what they are? I'd be like us saying, well, a wolf can't eat other things. Hyena can't eat other animals. Like, we can't go around and say who can eat who and what can eat what, especially in this period of humanity, a time of they also eat things. And so it's like, You can't say, well, we get to eat this, but you can't eat that. It's like all these different beings eat what they eat. And so, in these beings have been able to be productive enough to create a whole world that we have come into. And so that, all of the different souls come into this place to experience. I think it's not just experience the dark, but it is to see if the dark can like trap you, see if you can find your way out of the dark. It's like a challenge. It's like, can you find your way out once you get in? Because that's what it seems like so much of the journey is about, finding your way out. So anyways, but it's, we can't sit here and go about all of the other beings and say, well, they're no good, they're devils, they're rotten, they don't deserve to be alive. Everybody, everything deserves to be alive in the universe's eyes. Everything is about existence. Everything is about just the whole concept of what it is to be alive, and all different things play out. So even in the sense of awakening to being around what we would consider evil, we can't just stay in that state of mind of judgment. We have to be more open, like, well, that's what these beings do. When we came and we ignored the signs, we didn't pay attention. And when it comes down to it, we came here to I don't know, to be tested on that, on our awareness, on our ability to stand for what's right in our own eyes or whatever. But anyways, I just know that we can't just move into being around all different other kinds of beings when we are in judgment of, everybody has to be the same as us. And you see this just playing out so much in our society. It's all playing out. And so, but when it goes to the bigger scale of things, in order to move out, and the thing is because we aren't in alignment with that anymore, we'll go to a place where that doesn't exist. So we'll create a place in a world where that doesn't exist. It's not like we have to stay here and just accept it and they're just going to do this. No, that will probably carry on and continue for beings that, because that's what these people eat, is, and they'll keep making their worlds to, have their farms and have their pastures for the ignorant and the unknowing. And but we will move up and out of that, and we'll move into our own world, our own existence, and our own creation, where in the one I'm going to is not going to be like, we're not going to be doing that. Like, I don't know I don't know what yet is on the menu, but I know it's not going to be each other or other living things, other beings that are living their lives. I mean, when this world, it's on all different levels of, is this okay? Well, is this okay? Is this? And a lot of people are like, well, it's okay to eat a cow and a pig. Well, is it okay to eat a dog and a cat? Because they're over there eating those. Is it okay to eat people? Because they're over there eating that. Is it okay to eat a living octopus? Because they're over there eating that. And they're eating mermaids, and they're eating whales, and they're eating... It's like, where does it end? I mean, for me, it's like, I'm going to a world where we don't do that. I don't want to be even, maybe we'll go to a world where we don't need to eat. We just need to plug ourselves in and recharge, and then we're good. We need to go out and lay in the sunshine and absorb that, like the power of the sun or something. But yeah, I'm ready to leave this whole shenanigan on this consumption era. I feel like I'm over it. I'm way over it. I'm ready to go into a different state of being. And if that is plugging in rather than consuming another living thing, I'm good with that. I'm fine with it. I don't care. This is too much. So anyways, that is, but I'm not going to be saying that these people, they don't have any place in this world. It's like, well, they exist. And, if the universe didn't want it to, then it wouldn't be. But that's the cool thing over for us, is that this cycle is ending for us. We do get to move out of this, but that doesn't mean that there's going to stop being beings that eat other beings. That's going to continue. I just think when we go up into a higher vibration, we just won't be around it anymore. That's the thing. I don't want to be around it. It really bothers me. I don't like to see things. I don't like to think of things being stressed. I don't like to think of things being scared. I don't like to think about being consumed. And then especially if you have any remembrance of past lives where, like, I was haunted by mine as a child, of me being consumed by a larger animal. And it was haunting. It was horrible. It was a horrible thing to grow up every night to have to relive it over and over and over. So, so yeah, I mean, that is just, I just am ready to move out of that whole thing about eating each other kind of thing. Well, I'm stronger than you. I have one of these and I can kill you, so I can eat you. And it's just like this whole round and round and round and round, and everybody's consuming everybody. And so, and I mean, and they've said it right out, to them, we are animals. That's all we are. They don't look at us the same as them. We're animals to them. So, and I mean, some of the behavior is very, where I think a lot of us look at some of these people and are like, oh, you're animals. Like, so, I don't know, but everything is, we're at the time of change. And I do think, that Donald is right about something's going to happen and it's going to bring us together. And when we come together, that is when the light comes in. So, and whatever it is, it's getting close, whether it's this weekend. And I mean, there's a part of it where it's just like, come on, hurry, just bring it on. Let's just get through this, man. It's just lingering up there, lingering up there. It's just like we're ready to just move through it, move past it, and get on with our lives and rebuild back from whatever it is. So whatever happens is going to happen. And so, and there's no stopping it. We signed up for it. We agreed to come in and experience it. So whatever's going to be is going to be. And so anyways, this weekend could be the weekend. So, if you're not prepared at all, and who knows, if it's going to be, you think, like, if you just kind of think this scenario through, which it could be, this is just one projection. It could be so many different things. But let's say, that there is an aggressive move towards us with some kind of militant type of atmosphere, and it's on the cusp of WW3, and so the horrible thing happens, and they do the game, and everybody sees, and then it goes black, or goes to the color strips, and then people are panicking, people are freaking out, and then they come on and say, we've been attacked, and we are going to, everybody's going to need to stay at home, and people are not going to don't be going out. It's not safe. And so people are going to be staying at home and not going out because it's not safe. And, I mean, we even know, like, I even saw a video of, they use those DRONEs to sneak up. So they sneak up, and they are able to sneak up on soldiers and stuff, and sky high. So yeah, if we have a threat like that, like, oh, if you go out, like, they've got these little things that can be finding you, and we have got certain things going on in the streets that you don't want to be a part of. So I don't know. And then we have to just kind of stay home until the air is cleared, or till something. But it's kind of, when you think about it, in the sense of the awakening, is in 2020, like, when people were having to stay home, it was really, when you are alone and you got stress, you really do start thinking in different ways, and you really do become more insightful. You really do communicate more with your soul. So it could very well be that we would be forced to be in a stressful situation and have to stay at home and think about it. It's like the same thing as when you're a kid and your mom tells you, go to your room, and you think about it till your father gets home, and you sit in there stressing all day, knowing like, oh God, he's going to spank me as soon as he gets here. And then you hear his car pull up. You sense it because you do heighten your abilities to pay attention under stress. And that's also what they were talking about, that they start seeing people have more abilities because, yeah, you start paying attention. You hear somebody, oh, I can hear his car coming down the road. I can hear him breathing as he's walking in. So, yeah, but it does get you to really go more into yourself. And so it wouldn't surprise me if that's part of it. And so, anyways, but we'll see. We'll see how whatever goes down. I mean, this whole weekend we could just go past it, nothing. But then it could be like, oh well, now it's going to be on the 14th. It's going to be on the 17th. It's going to be on this day. So whatever is going to be is going to be. It's got to be coming closer and closer. And so let's read these tales. So, anyways, but whatever's going to be is going to be. And just be prepared for anything. Archie's already, because he's decided, him and I are, we're a duo now. So, and they're all getting up and ready to go eat some, today we'll have English muffins. So we'll go make some English muffins and I'll get another cup of tea. And so we'll see what this day brings us. Now it's Thursday. I know it's bringing me training day with the dog. And then now I've been up since 2. It's probably bringing me a nap. So and I'm sure there's going to be more drama. But it's like at some certain points it becomes so repetitive. You just see the people. It's just like, ooh, they've been chewing on this for a while. So that's why once you chewed it up, you got to swallow and move on. You just got to swallow the hard stuff and just move on with it. You can't just keep chewing it and chewing it and chewing it and chewing it. And, but, everybody's going to learn it as they go. And some people are going to just keep on chewing it and chewing it. And, but I do think, where they're sitting there talking about in the files, Joe's not really Joe, and he's in mask, and they're going to see, and whatever, all their stuff. And Joe's been gone since 2019. The squad got him. And I just think there's a lot of the people. I think that is just like another confirmation to, yeah, a lot of these people are not who they pretend to be. And they are different. I mean, geez, when you see Gates' wife, is it Melinda, Melissa, Melanie, whatever her name is, that is not the same lady. God. And besides the fact that she, there was no bit on her. Like, she died years ago. And then they just resurrect to bring them back. It's like, we need some drama. Bring them back. It's like, let them die. Let them live and die in peace, man. Leave them alone. But anyways, yeah, that's not the same lady. But Gator, I don't believe he's the same. Hillary, none of these people are the same. So, anyways, I think that there is when we sit there and want, like, oh, I want to rest, well, I think that they've been being, I think that there's been, that stuff has been going, that it isn't, that we're all just sitting here waiting, twiddling our thumbs. No, I think that there's been low key these things happening for a long time. I think they took down a lot of bad people for a long time. And so, I guess eventually we'll hear. But, I mean, people got to get ready. Like, people are, like, I don't know. Even when they're going over this stuff, it's just like they just want to find one name on there. It's the only thing they want to talk about. And now they're going back and forth over, you just got to get out of the blue and the red. You just got to let all that go and move on. And I'm not over Donald. I'm not like, go worship him and, oh, he's a saint and all that stuff. I'm just looking at it logically over what I see in the patterns and what I hear, and knowing, that we do have someone who is making the moves for humanity to go in a different direction. And anyways, I've already explained how I see it. And so, Anyways, but we'll see what this day brings us. I'm sure it's going to bring more drama, more frustration, more sadness, more very emotional instability into the collective. And which there will be more with the earthquakes and volcanoes and all of that stuff as that is all going. Which yesterday, man, they freaking, I could not believe what they did to this sky. It's like, man, they are definitely trying to hide something. Like that still is a big thing. Like something could, it may not be anything with the Super Bowl. Maybe the sky's gonna open up. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna be? Because they sure do spend a lot of time fucking covering it. It was crazy. So, anyways, we'll see. We'll see what's to come. But, along the whole road, you can't go wrong just working on yourself and purging out all of the emotions that this brings up in you. Question yourself, find yourself, believe in yourself, move on, in the direction that you need to go. And, because the whole thing is you got to learn how to love yourself in order to get to the new world, and because you got to be able to love everybody else. You cannot love everybody else if you can't even love yourself. That's just a given. So you got to start with you, learn how to love yourself so you can love everybody else, and learn how to have the day you want to have. You don't have to just be consumed by what it is they're trying to suck the life out of you with. You got to just decide, when you've had enough, when you've heard enough, when you've chewed long enough, and let it go and just move on. So, anyways, that's what I gotta say about it. So, tomorrow morning we'll talk about whatever goes down today. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye.